This first one. So this is interesting. We're usually device heavy, and this week most of the news was drug and um, biologics related. So really, really interesting. Um, we do have one device thing at the end, but this I thought would be of interest to a lot of people. Type 1 diabetes, FDA approves the first cellular therapy to treat patients with type 1 diabetes. And and you're going to get this is gene learning all about diabetes live on air. So the company is called Celltrans. That doesn't appear anywhere else here, so we wrote that in there. The company is Celltrans that got this approval from FDA. The drug is called Lantidra. It is the first allogenic pancreatic islet cellular therapy made from deceased donor pancreatic cells. We'll unpack that in a minute, but that's what this thing is. It's a allogenic pancreatic islet cellular therapy made from deceased donor pancreatic cells for the treatment of type 1 diabetes. This is if you can't hit your targeted glycated hemoglobin or your average blood glucose levels, even though you're sort of doing everything else right with your insulin. So I wanted to take a step back because the drug side of the world isn't something we talk a ton about. And in fact, I guess I'm thankful it's not something that I have experience with diabetes. Type 1 diabetes affects 1.24 million people in the US. And it's basically something that happens when your pancreas that's supposed to make insulin, and insulin is supposed to regulate your blood sugar, isn't happening. Something's wrong. It's usually something wrong with your pancreas. And with unregulated blood sugar, it tends to just skyrocket and you become hyperglycemic. So patients take insulin, it keeps their blood sugar down. But keeping your blood sugar down is this thing called hypoglycemic, right? And any of us who've ever struggled with that just from not eating enough food sometimes know what that can do to you. So it's this battle, and there are patients, actually, apparently, this is not medical advice, I've just been learning this myself. There are patients who can become tolerant to their own hypoglycemia, meaning they are unaware that they've got too little blood sugar. So now either you've got too much blood sugar and your body can't process the food that's coming in, or you're taking insulin, but it's suppressing it so much that you've got low blood sugar and you need to let it back up a little bit. So here's an example of a person who is not able to adequately regulate their type 1 diabetes through taking insulin. The dosing just isn't working out. So this is interesting. The primary mechanism of action of this Lantidra is believed to be the secretion of insulin by the infused allogenic islet beta cells. Infused allogenic, we're going to unpack that one here in a second. Apparently, in some patients, these infused cells can produce enough, they produce insulin. The cells are actually producing insulin. So it's administered by a single infusion into the hepatic portal vein. So what is this? Allogenic, denoting relating to or involving tissues or cells that are genetically dissimilar and hence immunologically incompatible, although from individuals of the same species. Okay, so allogenic means these are coming from somebody else. Islet, these are allogenic islet beta cells. The islet of Langerhans, I hope I pronounced that right, I probably didn't, are groups of pancreatic cells secreting insulin and glucagon. Oh, so these cells actually secrete insulin. Neat. Beta cells are the particular type of cell found in pancreatic islets that synthesize and secrete insulin and amylin. Wow, interesting. So if you've got type 1 diabetes, beta cell mass and function are diminished, leading to insufficient insulin secretion and hyperglycemia. Well, that's interesting. So by infusing these allogenic islet beta cells, these cells that are producing insulin and can keep producing insulin, you're basically putting a time delay release product right into the liver portal vein of the patient. So it actually, the idea is that it smooths out that dose, which is pretty cool. They did 2 non-randomized single-arm studies, 30 participants with type 1 diabetes, and it sounds like 21 patients out of 30. And we're going to be talking in a minute about numerators and denominators in reporting data. But I think what we're saying here from FDA, 21 participants out of 30, that seems to be what they're saying, did not need to take insulin for a year or more, with 11 participants not needing insulin for 1 to 5 years. Wow. And 10 participants not needing insulin for more than 5 years. But 5 participants did not achieve any days of insulin independence. So broken up there, it'd be interesting to see a graph of that, but 5, so what is that? About 15%, a little bit more than 15%, didn't get any benefit from it, but quite a few did, at least a year, if not more. So this is just really interesting on the biologics side. We don't see a lot of biologics, but this one, for such a common condition, 1.24 million people, and such a neat idea. Put the kind of cells in that are going to secrete insulin and hopefully smooth things out. Not medical advice, but certainly something of interest to those who can't achieve control of their type 1 diabetes through insulin alone. So kudos to FDA for getting that cleared.